How's it going? How are we all doing? So today's guitar lesson is going to be focusing mainly around the bar chord. So last week we did Let It Go from the soundtrack Frozen, and in it we had a bar chord. So I just want to touch a little bit more on the bar chord, and over the next 2 weeks we'll probably do a little bit around that. So today is more about the technique of getting the bar chord to sound the way it should sound. So there's going to be a few tips and different kind of techniques to be able to take the pressure off of the chord arm and to kind of put pressure on the strings to get them into that wood. And then we'll progress on to being able to turn the likes of an A and a D chord into the bar chords in the coming weeks as well. But I want to kind of address some of the issues that you would face coming up when you're starting to do the bar chords, and kind of some of the things that I wish I would have taught. I wish I would have learned when I was younger playing guitar. It's only recently that I started to actually pick up the bar chords. So it's really important that when you're using bar chords, they're hard, but you shouldn't avoid them. At no point should you avoid them. You should just dive in, and even if they don't sound good in a song, just use them anyway, because the muscle memory will eventually come and make everything easier. So I'm going to put you closer to the guitar neck now, and we're going to get into some of the techniques. Okay, so to get into this kind of getting the sound out of these bar chords, okay? So at the start, I just want to let everybody know, at the start, the bar chords are not going to come easy. They're not going to come as easy as these chords, the open chords may have come, okay? So it's important to know that they're going to sound not very well in songs, okay? But the more you work on them, and I'm going to show you a few techniques to kind of help with the muscle memory in your hand. But the more you work on them and the more you take these on, the easier they'll get. So the first chord that the chord that we're going to work with today is going to be the F chord, okay? So it's nice and easy. So to start off, we're going to get our index finger and we're going to put it and bar it across the first fret, okay? So try and get it as close to this metal bar as you can, okay? Without being on the metal bar, because if you're on the metal bar, you get kind of that sound, whereas if you're just beneath the metal bar, you get a nice clear sound. So just at the metal bar, okay? Next, we're going to get this kind of like an E, so kind of your E major chord. So the one where you have your middle finger on the G string, your ring finger on the A string, and your pinky finger on the D string. So you have that, and you're just going to move that up to the second fret. Okay, so you have that. Okay, so it's kind of like an E major sharp, and then you're going to bar the first fret. Okay, so it's important to know that it's called the F. So the bar chords are called the bar chords for a reason. So this note here, when you're pressing this string, the E string on the first fret, you now have an F note. So that's the root of this chord. So you're going to bar the first chord, make that E major shape on the second and third fret, and you're just going to strum. Okay? And what I want you to do is, I want you to practice just plucking all the strings. Okay? Okay? And you're probably, at the start, you're probably going to get this sound from the bottom strings, and that's fine, okay? Now, most of the time people do bar chords, they try to put this finger flat, okay? So nice and flat like that. And if their elbow comes out like so. But to kind of get a good sound from the bar chords, you need to kind of tuck your elbow, okay? And instead of putting your finger flat, you're just going to turn it slightly, okay? So that it's kind of this piece of your finger is touching the string. So it's kind of your knuckles that are touching the string, okay? And that you can get a little bit more of a sound out of that. So if you're struggling to get kind of the bottom strings, try turn your finger a little bit and just turn it into the strings, and you might be able to get that sound out. Okay? So just have a practice of that now, and then come back to the video. So I'm going to give a wide view of this this little bit. So at times, so I was doing a song last week with the kind of the Thursday class, and it was You Somebody by the Kingsley Arm, where it's mainly all just bar chords. It's all up and down the fret. And I found that my arm started to get really sore. So there was something that I was trying to do, and I was trying to figure out ways to try and take the pressure off of this arm. And one thing that I did was I put, so this arm here, the way this is hooked at the base of my guitar, and I just pulled this back slightly. Okay, so I pulled with this and I pulled with this finger at the same time. So if you pull, it's kind of bringing the guitar into this finger, and all you have to do is keep this hand straight down. Okay, so if I'm getting really tired, so if I'm playing chords and going to throughout a song and I'm getting really tired, all I have to do is just pull the guitar slightly with my right elbow. Okay, if you're left-handed, it's obviously your left elbow. So just pull it slightly, and you're pulling the strings into your finger. It's taking pressure away from this arm then, and it makes it sound clearer because you're pulling the guitar into this finger here. Okay, so again, if you're getting this sound, or your arm is just getting really tired, it's just a little pull and pull with both hands. Okay, it's minimal pull with this hand. Okay, it should always come from kind of this. Now, in the next few weeks, when we move further up the neck of the guitar doing this, so I'm just going to explain how, in the next few weeks, how we can turn all the other chords, the open chords, the A's and the D's, into bar chords. When we move up, it gets a lot easier. Okay, because you're not putting a lot of stress. You're not in an uncomfortable position where your shoulders having to turn your arm out that way. Okay, so just one more thing is just to pull, and that's it. So now that we have kind of some techniques on the bar chords, okay, it's important that we're getting this muscle memory in action. So the way we do it, the way we can practice this is just practice it in different ways. So setting it up in different ways. So some people might start by barring the first fret and then going in and getting that shape, the E shape. Okay. Others will start with the E shape and then bar the first fret. To learn what your thing is, it's important to try both. Okay. So start. So for example, go from a C into the bar chord. Okay. And see what goes down first. Okay, it might be, for me, I think it's the index finger over the first fret first. Okay, but practice both ways. So start off by barring the first fret, getting the shape. Okay, take your hand off, give it a little shake, then get the shape, and then bar. Okay. Now, something for the muscle memory is just to picture yourself spraying a bit of freeze spray on this, okay? And you freeze your hand to look like this, all right? Take it away and then bring it back, okay? Put it back on the guitar, make some adjustments if you need to, so fix the middle finger on the G string, fix the E shape if you need, and then fix the bar on the first fret as well, and then play it. Okay, and that holding that shape is just going to get that muscle memory going. Okay, now when you first start learning bar chords, the worst thing you can do is just play them over and over and over and over again in one single sitting. One, because you get extremely frustrated because you're not getting the sound out of the strings, and then two, you tend to get bored of doing it, okay? Because likewise, you start to hear that kind of muting of the strings. So it's important that when you're practicing it, you're just practicing this for a few minutes, okay? And even if you're trying to throw it into a song, put it into a song where you're kind of moving down, okay? And then stop. and go on to another song where you're not playing bar chords, okay? And just go and play some open chords so that you can get a sound out of the guitar, and that it feels worthwhile to do these guitar lessons. The last thing to note then is the F chord is just an F chord, okay? So the bar is one way of doing it. And it's likewise with any of these chords that we're going to do over the next few weeks is you can play this chord in many different ways. So for example, if I wanted to take this finger off, okay, I could just use the bottom strings. So I could bring my, so as if I'm playing the C, I can bring these two fingers down and I can just bar the bottom two strings. Okay, and that's an F chord. Okay, so the middle finger, the ring finger is on the D string on the 3rd fret. The middle finger is on the G string 2nd fret, and my index finger is barring these two strings here at the bottom. Okay, and that's an F chord. Likewise, we could just use these middle strings here. Okay, so we can use these 4 strings here. So we have our E shape, and then all we have to do is throw our index finger on the B string here, the 2nd string up, and we have and that's an F chord, okay? And that song, that F chord is used in a lot of the likes of Codeline, Mumford and Sons songs, so that's a very popular way of playing the chord. Or likewise, if you're into the likes of rock, you could play it without the middle finger, okay? And you can just hit the top 3 strings, okay? So you could hit the E, A, and D string. So keeping that E shape with these 2 fingers here, and then you're just coming up, and you're just getting this E string up here at the top, okay? So now you have, okay, and that's called a power chord. So this power chord starts off in the Nirvana song, so, okay? So that's what a power chord is, and we'll get into that in another lesson. But again, this is another way to play the F shape, okay? And then all you have to do is just add the middle finger, and you have the full bar chord, okay? So there's loads of different ways. Don't just stick to one way of playing this bar chord, and all those different ways will get you in the habit of being able to, for example, form that E shape, okay? If you're just playing this one. It will get you in the habit of, so if you're playing the power chord, it will get you in the habit of getting that bar shape, okay? All you have to do is put a bit of pressure on the bottom strings then. And I suppose just one more tip then is just for, if you're doing the power chord where you're just using the top 3 strings, this middle finger now is free, okay? And if you have a weird middle finger that pops kind of like mine because of football, it reaches further over this index finger. You can use it as an extra support on the bar, okay? Okay, you can even strum out the whole thing then. But you can put that, put it over the top of the index finger and make a little bit of extra support for that, and work together. Use those fingers to work together then. So that is in essence the technique of getting bar chords and getting the sound of the bar chords for what they are. Don't go off and kill yourself trying to play these every day. It's important that you bring them into your practice, so maybe practice them for 1 or 2 minutes when you pick up that guitar. But don't frustrate yourself either. Don't overdo it. That's a really important piece to kind of taking this next step. It's important that we're embracing the bar chords because we don't want to leave it too late in going into kind of your development of the bar chords, because by then you get into a lot of habits of and you're not able to break it. And you'll find that the earlier you do this, the easier playing things like a scale will it'll benefit you, because you're using all of your fingers and you're strengthening that hand. And it's like that exercise that I did at the very start of these guitar lessons, where we're just using that to warm up the hand. All that will become very easy. So take the F chord, go back and play the Frozen song and throw that B into it, and see how well you can do it, okay? And again, if you're playing a song that has a bar chord in it, and you're getting to the bar chord, and the bar chord sounds a little bit crappy, just play through it. Okay, that's the most important bit. It's just to play through it, and just keep going, because the more you play through it, the more your muscles are going to remember the shapes of those chords, and that's the most important bit when we're learning new chords like this. So take it, practice it, but don't over practice it, and just make sure you're still enjoying the guitar. And just don't forget those open chords. They're probably the most important things that you're going to learn in guitar, is the open chords. So always go back to the open chords if you're getting frustrated with the bar chord. Next week we'll do a song, and then the week after we'll go a little bit more into the theory of being able to move the bar chords into kind of our open chords. So going from D to A and how we can put the bar chords into them. Okay. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. I hope it makes it a little bit easier for you. I hope you enjoyed the next week of practicing those bar chords, and I hope you get them down. And I will see you next Tuesday where we do a song.